All right, shalom, shalom. First off, and foremost as always, I want to say, Call Halam La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double liners being two, the elder apostles of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. And it's in the serious shalom to you, Akim out there that's pushing this truth through the spirit, through the power, and through the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. So this lesson is going to be titled, and make not haste in time of trouble, okay? Pursuant to the Sirach 2 and verse 2, okay? Which I wanted to hop into this Sirach 2 from verse 1 to, let's see here, to really verse 5. I wanted to read it in the KJV and then the GNT, okay? Because it's going to be times in this truth when, things aren't necessarily going to go, your way, and every day is a test to see how you're going to react, to see what you're going to do, to see how you're going to, apply the scriptures, right? And this is all part of the furnace of adversity. This is all part of, chipping away at that old man, okay, or the old woman, right? Because the scriptures speak about, us becoming new creatures in Yahweh Shai. The scriptures speak about how, we are renewed day by day, referring to our mind, our spirit, okay? So like I said, this lesson is called and make not haste in time of trouble. So Lord's will, this lesson is edifying to the Lord's sheep, and let's hop right into it. So starting off, this is Sirach 2 and verse 1, and it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Right. And within this truth, there's going to be times when, you're going to be tempted, and the word temptation means the enticement to sin. So there's going to be times in the truth when you're going to be, when temptation is going to be in your face, okay? And you're going to have to apply the scriptures to not, fall into that temptation, okay? Because ultimately, like I said, every day is a test, all right? And, being that we're in the sinful flesh, we're in this battle, okay? The spiritual battle, okay? The war, between the spirit and the flesh, all right? That's why the Apostle Paul, when you read Romans the 7th chapter, he says, loosely paraphrasing it, he says the things that I don't want to do, I do, and the things that I want to do, I don't do, roughly paraphrasing it. Okay, and he said that it's sin that lieth in him. Okay, and that's the flesh. Okay, the sinful flesh at times can, come around when you least expect it, if you get what I'm trying to say. All right. So that's why, we have to, prepare our minds for temptation. Okay. And, and really hone in on what that means, preparing, spiritually, getting ready, getting ready for anything that comes your way. Okay. Spiritually. All right. That's why, that this is a spiritual battle and we must continue to endure. Verse 2, and it says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure." Right, get your mind right and constantly endure. Okay, endure means to what? To be firm, to be steadfast, right? To basically to just continue to on the path of righteousness, endure. Okay, it says constantly endure. Set that heart right and constantly endure. Constantly, stand firm. Constantly, be steadfast, right? And make, here's the point. Well, here's the title of the lesson. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble. Okay? Because, and it's truth, you're gonna be put in uncomfortable situations that you don't want to be put in. Okay, but at times the Lord will put you in a situation where you have to do it. Okay, or when things get tough, you just want to quit. No, that quit is not an option. Okay, you can't just come into this truth and think you're just gonna just quit. The scriptures say that any man that look back is not fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Okay, any man that take his hand to plow is not fit, for the kingdom of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right. The scriptures say, "Gird of your loins like a man." Okay. And real quick, let's go into the GNT. It says, Sirach 2 and verse 2. It says, "Be sincere and determined. Keep calm when trouble comes." Right. Keep calm. Don't panic. Don't fret. Now, of course, the natural reaction, according to the flesh, is going to be to, think about the worst. Okay. But that's why the scriptures say that being spiritually minded is life and peace. Because once you're spiritually minded, okay, you start to get, into this healthy habit of casting your burdens upon the Lord. Okay. When things are in your control, it's no point of overthinking it and trying to, wrap your mind around it, because, you got to just throw it, put that upon the Lord, and He'll take care of it. Okay. That's why it says this, verse 3, Sirach 2, verse 3 in the KJV, says, "Cleave unto Him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." Right. Okay. And the GNT says, "Stay with the Lord, never abandon Him, and you will be prosperous at the end of your days." Right. So what does that mean? That means, calling upon Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, believing in His name. Okay, believing that He'll protect you in any situation. Okay, but believing that He'll get you out of any situation that you're trying to overcome. Okay, because ultimately you will, through Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, and it says, "And be patient when thou art changed." I'm sorry, I skipped the line. Verse 3, Sirach 2 and 3 KJV says, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Right, man, take cheerfully, because you have to realize that, like I said, every day is a test. Okay, and we're constantly going through the furnace of adversity. Okay, this is the baptism that we must go through. It's the spiritual baptism that we must go through in this truth. Okay, it's mandatory. All right. Going through adversity. Okay, going through ups and downs, highs and lows. You're gonna go through things in this truth. That's why He says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully." Now, of course, certain things at the time is not gonna, you're not gonna always be in a joyous spirit, right? Which we understand that, but once the dust settles, you have to take a step back and reevaluate the situation. Okay, and maybe the Lord is putting you through a certain position, so that way you can still, so that way, because I'm gonna say it like this, it be things that, we still have to work on, and then on top of that, maybe things that we don't even, recognize that we have to work on. You see, so the Lord can put you in a situation where it's like, dang, why am I, why, like it's just, this is crazy. Why am I going through this or going through that? Well, the Lord's put you through that because He's, you got to go through that in order to become better in the spirit, in order to mature. Okay, the Lord can put you through things to get those spiritual impurities, out of you. You see? That's why the scriptures say that our thoughts is not the Lord's thoughts. Okay, His ways are higher than our ways. Okay, there's no comparison. All right, like how the old saying goes, what the Christians say, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Well, that's true. Okay, the Lord knows how many hairs is in our head. Okay, the Lord directs a man's steps. So whatsoever is brought upon thee, we take cheerfully. Okay, because ultimately we know that in the long run it's for our benefit. All right. Just like when it says in I believe the book of Hebrews, the 12th chapter, it speaks about chastisement. Okay, during that present time it may not seem joyous, but in the long run, okay, it's beneficial. This is Hebrews 12 and verse 11. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Right. So at times, the going through the furnace of adversity is not gonna, it's not gonna be a walk in the park. At times, it's not gonna be, easy. Okay, but like it says right here, it says, but grievous. Okay, there's gonna be times you think you're going crazy. There's gonna be times where you could be real pissed off. Okay, it's gonna be times when you're not, that you're not gonna feel like doing something, but you got to do it. Okay, that is all within this baptism. Okay, this truth is multifaceted. Okay, every brother and this truth comes from we come from all different walks of life. Okay, and that's coming from the world, as Gentiles, and coming to this truth, and now being new creatures in Yahweh Shai is things that we have to get the kinks out of, you see, and work on. But that's why let's go back to Sirach 2 and let's see here, Sirach 2 and verse 5, and it says, for gold is tried in the fire, you see, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So we're going through certain things because of this is the fire that we have to be put through, okay, in order to be cleansed spiritually. Because just like how gold, okay, real quick, let's get this in the GNT. Sirach 2 and verse 5 in the GNT says, gold is tested by fire, right? You can go up on YouTube right now and look it up and look how gold is formed. Okay, look how gold is when they cleanse the gold and get the impurities out. Okay, what do they clean it with? Fire, you see. And it says, and human character is tested in the furnace of humiliation, you see. So just like how it says in Hebrews 12 and 11, right? At the time it may not seem joyous but grievous. Okay, at times you're gonna have, and it's truth. You gotta just go through it. You take it to the chin. Okay. Sometimes you gotta go through the bitter in order to get to the sweet. All right. And that's what some Jakes, within, Israel, I'll put it like that. A lot of Jakes within Israel, they just want the sweet and not the bitter. Okay. But if you're not getting used to going through the bitter and used to going through adversity, then when Jacob's trouble comes, okay, spiritually, you're going to be, behind. Okay. That's why now it is the time to spiritually get right. Now is the time to, trim your lamps. Okay. Salakia. Now is the time to take advantage of the grace period that's been given unto us. It's been time. That's why the scriptures literally say, redeem the time because the days are evil. Okay. And they're going to get even more evil. All right. What's happening right now is we're going through, this this trial of faith. Okay, going through the furnace of adversity, believing in Yahweh Shema Shai while being chastised. But through all of that, we had to take it cheerfully. Now, of course, you're not going to be smiling all the time or being happy all the time, but that's part of it. You see? But after you get through that, then the peaceable fruit is going to come forth. And then you're going to realize the benefits that you've gotten, okay, spiritually, by going through certain things in His truth. Whatever the Lord, has tailor-made for you. Okay, because when you go to 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says the Lord is not going to give us anything that we can't handle. So whatever you going through and your personal walk in the truth with Yahweh Shema Shai, that's meant for you. And the Lord knows, okay, that you're capable of going through that. Okay. Now real quick, let's head to 1 Peter. Let's see here. 1 Peter 1. Okay, this is 1 Peter 1. Actually, let's get this in the NLT. This is 1 Peter 1 from verses 6 to 7 in the NLT. And it reads, it says, "So be truly glad. This is wonderful joy ahead, even though you have to endure many trials for a little while." Okay, the KJV says, "Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness, through manifold temptations." And the truth is, like we said earlier, okay, we read Sirach 2 and verse 1. Prepared ourselves for temptation. And the truth is going to be, temptations that come across and that we have to, overcome. Okay, but through Yahweh Shema Shai, we're able to, overcome that and get through that. That's why it says, which I quoted earlier. Okay, let's get it actually. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Okay. And it reads, "There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able." You see? "But will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." You see? So temptations ultimately that we go through, okay, is ultimately, or should I say the temptations that are brought before us, ultimately, that's a test. Okay. But this is a working of our faith, okay. This is, us being put in that that fire, this baptism. Okay. That's why it says, when we go back to Sirach 2, okay, and verse 4, it said that verse 5, it said that for acceptable men is tried in the fire. Let's get it real quick one more time. Salakia. Sirach 2 and 5, it says, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." You see, it didn't say the furnace of, partying, the furnace of, sweet. Okay, it said the furnace of adversity. Okay, the furnace of actually, let's do this. Let's look this word adversity up in the etymology. The word adversity means condition of misfortune, hardship, difficulty, distress, okay, calamity. Okay. So when things, get tough and rough, going through the furnace of, difficulty, the furnace of distress. Okay, that's all the furnace of adversity, man. Those words are synonymous with adversity. Okay, and the Lord puts us through certain things, at times in the truth, so that way we can, grow from it and learn from it and become better men in the spirit. So that way, once it does come around again, we know how to handle it. Okay. So back in 1 Peter 1:6. Okay. And okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, I think I was going to the word. Yeah, I was going to this word. So the word trial, it means the word trial in 1 Peter 1:6 is going into, it says the trial of man's fidelity. Okay, which means somebody's faith or belief. Okay, and our belief and faith is in who? Yahweh Bashim Shai. It says in enticement to sin, temptation, whether arising from the desires or from the outward circumstances, okay, of the condition of things or a mental state by which we are enticed to sin or to a lapse from the faith in holiness. Adversity, see, there goes the word adversity, right? The friends of adversity, affliction, trouble. Oh, right here, check this out. It says, sent by the Most High and serving to test or prove one's character, faith, or holiness. You see? So like I said earlier in the video, every day is a test. Okay? And, when I read that, I thought about the account with Job. Okay? The Lord sent Satan on Job. Okay? The Lord is in control of everything. Okay? Because right here it says, sent by the Most High and serving to test or prove one's character, faith, and holiness. So, hey, man, this is all a test from Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay? Because the Lord knows that we can handle it, right? So back in 1 Peter 1 and verse 7, and it says, 6, and it says, even though you have to endure many trials for a little while. So soon, hey, man, us, enduring, being in a spiritual battle, dealing with temptation soon, that's not going to be a thing anymore, because we're going to be, have our new bodies, be in the kingdom, under the new covenant, and we're going to be walking Bibles. We're going to be righteous altogether. Okay. But right now we have to go through the necessary steps to get to the next level, to get, salvation, to get delivered. Okay, because things that's happening right now, things that we go through is necessary. Okay, we have to see prophecy manifest. Okay. Verse 7, 1 Peter 1:7, and it says, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as the fire tests and purifies gold. Though your faith is far more precious than mere gold, so when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Yahweh Shai Mashiach is revealed to the whole world. You see? Man, that's powerful. I'm going to read that one more time. 1 Peter 1:7 in the NLT. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. You see? That's why he says not First John, John 4:23, it says that the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth. You see? The ones that are sincere and genuine. Okay, the ones that are really, doing this for Yahweh Shema Shai and not for a damn dollar. Okay? It says it is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. You see? So our faith is more precious than gold. That's why in James, I believe 2:5, it says that the Lord, look at the Lord the Lord has chosen the ones rich in faith. Okay, us having faith on this side, man. Listen, that is gonna be, faith is the main ingredient. Having faith in the names of Yahweh Shema Shai and calling upon those names and believing upon the name of the Lord, that is great. That's what take it out of here. Now, of course, the elect has been predestinated, But hey, man, we're doing what the elect would do. That's why we say the hopeful elect. You see, the elect is going to be calling upon the names of Yahweh Shema Shai, believing on those names, having fear in those names. Okay, and it says, so when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Yahweh Shai Mashiach is revealed to the whole world. You see? And best believe that Yahweh Shai is coming back very, very soon. All right? And once that day comes, man, it's going to be a day like no other. It's going to be a day of darkness, distress, and gloominess, man. Okay? Yahweh Shai is coming back to wage war and righteousness. Okay? The King of Kings and Lord of Lords is coming back very, very soon. All right? And he's coming back to deliver his elect. All right? So I'm going to leave it right there. And Lord, so this lesson was edifying to the Lord's sincere sheep. And I just want to say, call Lam La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash, the Balana being two, the elder apostles of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. And a sincere shalom to you, Akim out there that's pushing this truth through spirit, through the power, and through the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. And with that being said, shalom.